Good morning. Hope you all are having an amazing day already. And it's going to be a really, really good day. I feel like it's going to be awesome. I'm a little tired. I'll tell you why in a minute. If you don't know, you may be tired too. But let's wake up Facebook. The goal today, so you can share it with your friends. The goal today is for us to look at where this is a start well call to start the month off, but we're going to look at it holistically. We're going to look at the whole month of November. And hopefully, by the time you get off the Zoom today or finish watching this, if you're watching it recorded, you're going to understand and see better than ever what it looks like to have a great, even maybe even a perfect month in our business. So, what I'd love for you to do, it is the day after the election. A lot of stress is off of our bodies and our minds, and we're going to talk about that for a minute because it is the big elephant in the room probably this morning for a lot of you. And the first college football poll came out last night, and I didn't even check it yet. So, but let's put names down. Who do you want to join you in attempting and planning and strategizing and intentionally trying to make November the best month ever? I know Rhonda Hubbard's on here. She's up early and she had an amazing month last month. And so proud of you, girl. You're doing great. She's a phenomenal leader. And she's even an hour earlier. So I'm really proud that she's up and going. I wonder if she's got sleepy eyes like I do. My clock is off. Let's give this thing just a minute or two to get everybody to join us. Oh, and I have a big announcement, and somebody remind me to say it again. I think Beth is with us this morning. Beth and Trey are tag teaming us. Beth, if you're there, say hey so we know you're hanging out with us this morning. I think Beth said you were going. Trey said you were going to be with us in the beginning. Beth Bates has been my assistant. Is it 12 years now, Beth? It's been a long time, and she's amazing. She helps run my life, and I don't interfere usually when she tries. And so she'll be here to answer some of your questions while I'm chatting. But invite your peeps, and we're going to dive into this topic here in just a minute. I'm going to switch over so y'all can see my presentation screen. And we can look at that. Okay, some of you have also asked, what am I using to do these videos? I'm using Ecamm, E-C-A-M-M. If you want something that lets you kind of have your camera up and have a visual and change it back and forth, and you're going to see us coming up. We're going to do a lot. It has an interview feature. We're going to do a lot of interviewing too, okay? All right. Well, let's address the big elephant in the room first. And I am not going to sway you on my political opinions. That's not what this is all about. This is about business. But I will say, I mean, some of you are disappointed this morning. I happen to be excited, and I got the results that my family and we wanted to have happen yesterday. But I'll tell you what, I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about a fresh start. I'm excited that all this election stuff is behind us. And I'm probably the most excited. My phone was about to start charging me a subscription fee because it was getting so many texts that he didn't know who it was. My phone was so tired of unknown text messages from politicians that were telling me how much they love me and if I would just help them. And I'm so sick of it. So my number one hope this morning is that that's going to stop. I mean, maybe a one day of celebrating and congratulating people and saying thank you, but that text messaging stuff has got to stop. So let me know if you're in for having your phone freed up from crazy text messages. I'm telling you, I want those to go away. Okay. Anytime you get kind of the chaos behind you, and to me, every 4 years, the election process in our country creates chaos. I mean, the amount of money that is spent on the election, and winners and losers, but I mean, look at the losing side this time. They spent over $1 billion, over B with a billion. What could that have done to help people? I wish they would just ban the spending of money on elections and you had to win based on merit and word of mouth and all this kind of stuff. But anyway, the election creates chaos in our country. I really believe that it does. And we are experiencing a microcosm of that over the last 60 days with our digital transformation. We've had chaos all around us, but guess what? Life goes on in the midst of the chaos. It's okay to be frustrated. But when it gets tough, the tough get going, you know? And that's why I brought up Rhonda. I mean, I know that that's just who Rhonda is. She's tough. She works hard and plays hard. I love to see her working from the beach, but I also know she's up hard working at different seasons of her life. And you get jealous, but she's actually working in that beach chair with that phone in her hand. And that's been my motto from the beginning in this business, is to work hard first so that I have the freedom to play hard later. And I like to get up and get that started first thing in the morning. So let's dive in. I think you all have got a few of your people on here. And I will one announcement, and I'll say it again. We are switching back to 10:30 Eastern on Wednesdays. The company finally said, yes, we're permanently going to do our digital transformation calls with our CEO on Thursdays. They bounced around on that. They first announced it on Wednesdays, and I changed all of my Wednesday calls and everything we did on Wednesdays to Thursdays, to 9:30 to accommodate, which really messed up some people who had already gotten their schedules, like Melinda Kringwelge. She would be here with us. She's an amazing leader in Waco, Texas, and she had a commitment during this hour, and she was always getting home in time for the next one. So put it on your calendars, and Beth and I will talk. Maybe we can get this. I think it already is, but we can put a link in and get this into the add event calendar so you can subscribe to this. And if we ever have to make a change, it'll update for you. But we're going back to 10:30 Eastern on Wednesdays is our normal time, okay? So remind me and tell your peeps that from now on, this is the last one we'll do at 9:30 Eastern, going back to 10:30, because that works better for everybody, especially the West Coast people. We're making them get up really early today, okay? All right. And please, let me go back one before I get it. Please make sure that we have a continuous thought on this idea in the conversation in these chats. It's always great to say good morning, tell us where you're calling from. It's fun to know where you are today. Maybe you're soon. Maybe you're in a place that's snowing, and somebody else is in the place where they're on the beach, and it's just fun to see the contrast and how many states we have as people listen later. But I really want you guys to think about, we're trying so hard to create consistent, good content for you in Reels, to a podcast we'll talk about a little bit later. We're doing that twice a month. We've got a video series coming out every month, and we have a Start Well, Finish Strong call and a special training every month. And if there are topics that you all would specifically like some training on, let's say maybe pre-COVID or something, there was an amazing video on this topic and it's gone now. Or maybe you got a video and it has old logos or something in it, and you used it and you want something updated. Let us know and we'll work on that and make it happen to the best of our ability. And the second thing I'd love for you to bring up in the comments is, who would you like for me to bring on as a guest speaker in a podcast or an episode like this, or a special video that we can do? So add those things to your comments. Okay, let's keep moving here. One of the things I want to sell you on, and I want you to buy into and believe in, and this is the whole reason we're doing this, is we want you to understand the rhythms that drive our business. How do you manage your calendar? How do you manage your time so that it's the most effective, most efficient, most productive for this business? And you have to understand, and it took me a while because Lori and I were so naive, had never done a business like this before. How many of you felt like when you started this business, you had never done anything remotely like this before, and maybe you'd always had a schedule and a manager and dress code and an office, and you function within that structure, and you get in a business like this, and all of a sudden there's no structure and you have to manage yourself. It's hard. It's new. It's a new thing. But I want you to learn one thing right now, and that is that the month, that block of time, the month, every 30 days, every 31 days, that's what you have to look at when you want to craft the paycheck you want. Whether you're trying to pay for your product and create a little bit, you're trying to create part-time income to pay for private school, groceries, inflation, a vacation once a year, or you're trying to build that generational wealth in your family to create that reliable, faithful monthly income. Okay. Whichever, any of those categories, you have to manage the month in order to manage your paycheck. Okay. And Rhonda just said it does take discipline. It does. It does. It takes discipline to wake up every day. It takes when you don't have to wake up at a certain time and you don't have to get dressed. It does take discipline. Okay. All right. So the month is the moneymaker. And what does that mean? That means that you need to take. Don't wait 2 weeks into the month. Take the whole month and seize it, plan it, activate it, manage it, close it, so that you can create the paycheck you want that comes to us before the 10th of the next month. So whatever you do in November, you will get on a paycheck, your electronic funds transfer or paper check. If you're still getting a paper check, I would highly recommend you go in and set up your electronic banking, because you're going to get paid at least probably a week sooner. And I think there's a $3 fee to send a paper check. So make sure you've got your electronic banking information in the computer. But what you do during the month of November, during these 30 days, that's going to drive the paycheck you create for. It's going to come in the first part of December. Okay. All right. Let's look at the components of a month. Okay. So I didn't get Trey to detail this slide, but here you got to look at the month in several categories. The beginning of the month, early in the month. What I want you to think about is, have you scheduled already, or do you have on your plans to schedule your coaching call every month? And there's two of them, or two types. One is, who is your mentor, expert, experienced person in this business that you call to make sure you get a second set of eyes on your business and your plans, that you get input, that you get mentored, that you get someone that's more seasoned, more experienced than you are. But even maybe more important is just a second set of eyes to look at your data, to answer some questions we'll talk about in a minute. But that's got to be done early in the month. But then you've got to do the same thing with your people. Who on your team wants accountability, wants to build a business to create that reliable, faithful, consistent income for their family, that needs to get on the phone with you, maybe craft, if they don't know, but craft, create, and share their goals for the month with you so that they know they've got you on their team. You know what their goals are. And guess what? When you have 10 people's goals that you want to help achieve that also are a part of your team, your goal can be that much bigger because you're not trying to do it all by yourself. Does that make sense? And then the second, so that's the first, this is what is today, the 6th. You want to try and do that. You should have already done that. I say between like the 2nd and the 5th, because usually you're closing out. Sometimes you do it on the 1st, but usually 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, you're trying to get that coaching call done so that weeks 2 and 3, the activities that you planned to hit those goals, events you have on your calendar, 3-way phone call schedule, Zoom events, coffee shop with a friend, share a smoothie, wine and wellness, sourdough, salad in a jar, whatever all those events you schedule are. Travis and David Phillips are coming to town, whatever, okay? Get those on your calendar. I want you to activate those. If you're listening right now, you don't have to do it right now, but set yourself a reminder or a note that says, when I get off this call, I need to activate and schedule my events for the month, okay? And then the end of the month, you're going to use that time when urgency becomes your partner to finish strong, okay? So we're going to keep moving through this process here, all right? So data reviewed and ready. And you're saying, Kurt, I used to know where to find that data, but pardon my French, damned if I could find it now. That virtual office, the new thing is confusing. Guys, it's confusing for all of us. But let me tell you one thing. There's more data there than there was before. So the blessing is we have more data. The second blessing is when somebody orders, that data is updated much more quickly. For those of you that are a little bit techie, every report you run on there can now be downloaded. Even your PVC report can be downloaded into an Excel spreadsheet, and you can sort columns. You can, sort by state. You can sort by whatever you want to sort by. You can sort by on your PVC report. lots of things like who's close, who's got the closest to qualifying. You could sort by, PBQ or POBQ. So you can sort, and maybe we'll do a training on that one day. Maybe Don Rathman and I can do a training on how to download a report into Excel and then learn how you can manipulate that data so that it's most usable for you. But let's just talk about the PVC report. It's still there. It's fair. It's almost like it was before. If you just download it as a PDF and print it, you can view it on the screen. But what you want to do is you want to get that data and be able to see it and use it on that coaching call, because I don't think you can do the coaching call until you have your data to discuss on the coaching call, because data is great, but it's information overload unless you use it. So one of the things that mentor is going to do with you is they're going to help you take that data and make it become alive in your business for the month. It's going to become real, not just numbers on paper. They're going to be people on that piece of paper that have a number associated with them that helps you guide them, direct them, and determine the activities they need to do next. And so one of the things that's not on the screen, but one of the things that's at least in every other month, but a great practice, is for you to get out a blank white piece of paper and draw your organization. Put yourself as a circle at the top center, and then draw legs, like legs. Like if this was you up here at the top, you'd have your legs, your different team members branching off of you, like a organizational chart, tree structure, and put a name in those circles. Who are your sales coordinators? Do you have your 5 amazing leaders that are going to take you to national marketing director? Are they in place and you're helping them build their business and get the sales coordinator so you can be a national marketing director? Or do you only have 3 and you need 2 more? But drawing that picture out will help you put people and faces and names and lives and families with the data. You actually can take this data and write it in on the chart that you draw when you're talking with your coach. So you can get that piece of paper, draw it out, take a picture of it with your phone, and then send it to them. And they can blow it up, look at it with you when you do your coaching call, okay? I love having that image and that visual, because sometimes we can get really sterile and mechanical and robotic when we just deal with a spreadsheet and we forget that these are people's lives on this paper. These are families that have goals. These are families that have mortgages and budgets and needs, and they need this business to meet those targets and needs in their life. And so when you see somebody who's not yet performance bonus qualified for the month, and you got a picture and you see, oh, that's Sally and Tim, and they got 2 kids, and the oldest one, he's an amazing baseball player, and they do travel baseball all the time, and I know they've got just lots of overhead. And they need she shared that she's a stay-at-home mom and they need their Juice Plus check. She started out where that check was all she wanted to do was help. And the first goal was for it to buy groceries once a month, and then buy groceries for the month, and then buy groceries and pay the utilities, then buy groceries, pay the utilities, and pay the auto insurance. And so she has built her business, and she needs this paycheck to take care of family obligations and take pressure off their family budget. And you get that PVC report, and you put it in a spreadsheet, and it's sterile numbers. And all of a sudden you think about Sally and her husband and her kids and travel baseball and what she's done with this business to help carry part of her household burden. And she's not PBQ this month. I've got to get with her and make sure she gets PBQ, because she needs her paycheck to be as big as it can be. Maybe something's interfered and she missed the fact that she's 1 order short of PBQ. It's amazing what having the data can do to help you have a heart. The data is not a heart. The data is not, these numbers and details, they have no heart. But if you know that these numbers and details apply to a person, a family, kids, a budget, a vacation they're planning, a private school tuition they're paying, if you can take the numbers on that spreadsheet and connect those dots with a family and a life and what's going on with them, then that spreadsheet has a heart. Okay, so know the numbers. Do this on your coaching call. Does that make sense? Has anybody ever done that before? Taken the numbers and had a visual of maybe you've drawn something on a piece of paper, like I thought, like a chart, like an org chart for you and your family. Now, the computer will do an org chart for you. The ability to create that snapshot is in there under reports, but and it was on. We had it in our old computer system too. But it doesn't. It's like you have to expand it, and when you expand it, you can only see you see less. And so, I still would encourage you to draw a version of it to have on a piece of paper. Okay. If you have never done that, try it. It really, really works. Okay. It's awesome. I love, I'm picking on Rhonda this morning, but I just saw her comments. You got to do things when you don't feel like it. So maybe like, what is Kurt talking about? Why do I need to take a piece of paper and draw this out? You know what? Here's my request of you. Try it one time. Draw it out the best of your ability. And if you've got a big organization, you can't put everybody on there. Put your key players you're working with. Put the people on there you were able to do a coaching call with this month. And you know what their desires and goals are, and you're on their team and you're helping them. Make sure they're on there, okay? And you know, it really helps. It sounds silly. I do this when I'm having my quiet time in my Bible. I took a course one time. It was called an inductive Bible study. Kay Arthur taught it. And she taught you how to take your Bible and color code it with pens, pencils, and markers. So I'm going to teach you a little something here. I'm going to get off topic for a second. But maybe there's something about faith. And you decided that you were always going to highlight the things that impacted you on, maybe it was in Hebrews where it talked about the faith of great people in biblical history, or maybe it's God talking about a promise of faith. But everywhere the word faith and something in the Bible jumped out to you that was important, you colored that in pink. And maybe everything about wisdom, stuff from Proverbs and that you learned where you wanted to be wise. How do you have wisdom? What is wisdom? How do you act if you're wise instead of foolish? Maybe you do wisdom in yellow because you want it to be like a light bulb. You want it to enlighten. So I'm just telling you that color coding things can help you go back and see them more clearly and draw attention to what's important. So I would even tell you, if you're serious about this business, when you draw that picture, maybe all the ones that were qualified last month, you get a red pencil or a red pen and you circle them and they're red. The ones that were POB qualified, because they were PB qualified, probably if they were POB qualified, maybe they're green. And you could color them by title. And you can do the same thing. I take my PVC report and use highlighters where I highlight certain lines of people that I know I need to have a direct phone call with. And I know, just like Rhonda's little thing over there that made me jump on this, do it even when you don't feel like it. What I want you to know is this little extra step, if you'll do it, it's worth it. I know Sharon Rankin's on here, and she's an amazing Bible teacher, and I don't know what her tactics are, but I know she probably doesn't have a Bible that looks as clean as a whistle with not one mark in it. I bet she's got marks all in her Bible because you want to remember stuff. You put things down that are important. Do that with your PVC reports. Do that with your image of your organization so that you can think clearly, see clearly, and be more productive. And do it when you don't feel like it too. Okay? You got to do it. All right. We've talked about this a zillion times, but in addition to the data, in addition to drawing that chart or image, and hey, Trey or Beth, whoever's on here, would y'all remind me, let's go back in and put a slide in that kind of illustrates what that org chart or picture would look like. It'd be great to have in this slide deck. So the 3 questions, so it's data, it's a picture of your team, put lives and people and families and faces, and put heart with the data. And then when you're on the call with your mentor, ask these 3 questions. What went well? What went wrong? What can I do better? So, what went well, just real quick, I'm not going to dwell on this, but for those of you that have never heard this, we have a whole training on this. And Beth, you might put a link in here if you can find it. I know Trey probably knows where it is, but if you can find a link to the video on the 3 questions where we really did a deep dive and talked about this. But you're going to find out, to assess where you are, you want to know what happened that was going good, that was going well, that you want to celebrate, that you want to keep doing. Write those things down. Have a little mini celebration in that spur of the moment on that phone call. And then what went wrong? Whatever, we all love to be critical of ourselves. So what went wrong is like, what do I need to stop doing? What were things I did last month that were not productive? What are things that I'm doing that are obstacles that I need to overcome? What are things that that we need to just pause and say, that's not working, mid-course correction here. Put those things down and stop doing. Keep doing what's working, but don't, I mean, what is what happens when you keep doing the same thing over and over again, even though you're not getting where you want to go? That's the definition of insanity. Don't keep doing these wrong things over and over and over again. Stop, identify them, and quit. Keep doing what's working, stop doing what's not working. And then the third question is, what do I need to do in addition to, different or better than what I'm already doing, to make this month amazing, to make this year amazing, to make this business amazing for my family, to hit my targets? Just save those 3 questions. You can use those in your marriage. You can use those in parenting. You can use those as any part of a volunteer organization you're a part of. What if you're on a new exercise kick? You just finished your first month of committing to yourself you were going to exercise or eat better. Ask those 3 questions. How'd you do last month? These 3 questions work with anything. You want to save those somewhere because they're really good questions. But here's the whole synopsis here. We're starting the month well. We're going to finish it strong. And the reason is we want to get these things activated and scheduled and a part of our plan. What we don't want to do is we don't want to because, guys, human nature is to procrastinate. I mean, literally, I don't think there are very many people born that don't have to fight procrastination in some area of their life or across the board. If you have an opportunity to procrastinate and you don't see the consequences, it's what we do as humans. But you don't want procrastination to determine your destination. And the reason we're doing these calls is to help you to not do that. But I want you to see the consequences. Maybe, I didn't, early in my business, I missed qualifying 1 month and missed out on $2,000 or $3,000. I forget exactly how much it was. It was early in my business, so it wasn't huge. Like if I missed out on my performance bonus today, I might need Prozac or something. I might go into a depressed state because it would be a huge amount of money. But I learned my lesson when I saw the consequences of procrastinating and not finishing and qualifying my business. Or I saw the consequences of not getting the sales coordinator and waiting 1 more month, staying at QSC, and I had a big month, and I saw the 5% that I missed out on. That I was just like throwing money away, leaving it on the table. So there are consequences. So consequences should keep you from procrastination and not let it determine your destination. And we can talk about that more one-on-one. But we're going to talk about this throughout the month. I'm not super good at this. How many of you have, some of you, I think people have affirmation cards where you speak positive things in your life. But some of you are really, really good because you've shared with me before. Maybe it was Sharon, maybe it was Rhonda. I don't know who. It's maybe somebody on the call, maybe not right now. But some of you have shared with me moments when you just really had a deep attitude of gratitude and how it broke the stress, it broke the chaos, and it really let you sit for a minute and think about it because you were so grateful for what you had, not complaining about what you didn't have, And so Thanksgiving, this month, where we have that big holiday, the end of the month, and it's late this month. I think it's actually like on the 28th or something. It's really, really late. It's one of the later times that it happens in the month. So we got a full month to think about it. Some send out, I have 4 or 5 people that send me an amazing text around Thanksgiving just to tell me how grateful they are for me. I mean, they didn't have to do it, but you can tell it wasn't a bulk text, just a cut and paste, because it said something personal about me and my relationship with them, something that made me know that it wasn't just a cut and paste because it wouldn't have applied to anybody else. And they just shared. And I may not have talked to this person since the previous Thanksgiving or holiday season, or not. We neglect each other. We're good friends, but we moved. Life got busy. We had kids. We changed churches. Something broke up a friendship or relationship that was really tight at one point. But deep down, we had put roots in that relationship. We both had relational capital with each other. And that text from him, or my text to him with that same thing, it's like it reignited a conversation and a relationship that I knew was important that I needed to get back to. And so, some of you, how many of you have been around long enough where you participated in or took Steve Yastro's course or read his book called Ditch the Pitch? Who remembers that? I know Rhonda and I did some things together with that with Steve. So I know Rhonda. Sharon, I'm sure you read the book. Anybody else on here read or attend Steve Yastro's course called Ditch the Pitch? If you haven't, maybe we can put his book or a connection to that in the chat. But it's all about understanding. And the easiest way for me to say this is that when you practice the habit of trying to propose on the first date, you've all heard horror stories of these, dating apps and stuff where these beautiful ladies think you're going out to meet someone and have a conversation and see if there's a connection with a future husband, and they just get overly aggressive, and they want to move fast. And, proposing on the first date, I mean, it rarely works. I'm not saying never. I'm sure there's a story out there that somebody's going to say, I've been married 30 years and my husband proposed to me the first time we met. I don't believe it because I have a hard time conceiving it. But that's what his book, Ditch the Pitch, is about. It's about us investing in conversations in order to cash in on the relationship. Okay? I just thought that phrase, but that really makes sense. I'm going to applaud myself for that. You invest in the conversations so that you can cash in later on the relationship. Let's process that for our business. Let's process that with this attitude of gratitude. And let me give you a fact. 80% of all sales, recruitments, sales, purchases, they close on the fifth conversation or later. That's documentation. That's fact that proposing on the first date doesn't work because 80% of all sales occur on the fifth conversation or after. And if you got down to the third conversation or after, I'm assuming you're up in the mid 90s. Second conversation. I mean, after the second conversation, after the third conversation, you're going to be even higher numbers. Okay. But 80% are fifth conversation or later. That's a fact. So that's at least 4 investments in conversation to cash in on the relationship later. So you want to work on that. And so what I do and what I want you to do in order to make November an amazing month, let's start now. And let's text, let's call, let's interact, let's say, hey, across the driveway, whatever. And you pick a number. If you're serious about this, I think you could do 10 a day. If you're not serious and you're very part-time, I think you could do 5. Because these are so easy, non-threatening. The phone call, the text app, it's not going to feel heavy. You're not going to worry about it. But let's use the text messaging app as our main weapon of choice, okay? And I want you to find 5 people today, 10 if you're serious about this business, that you could just text. These could be, part of this could just be appreciation. It could be a customer that you're not, and you want to share with them. Your goal is to create an opportunity where they care enough to hear about Luminate. Your goal is for your relationship to be strong enough for you to tell them that you'd love for them to join you in the business. You'd love for them to create an account and see the new website, whatever. But I want you to do 5 grateful, gratitude, appreciation texts to somebody today. 5 of them. If you're serious about this business, 10 of them. How long does it take to send a text message? Not long, guys. And if you really want to go for quality, you can do it without this. But if you really want to do it with quality, I'd love for you to go to, let's say you're going to send me a text message, okay? You're going to tell me you're grateful for me. I'm just going to use me as an example. So Rhonda Hubbard, let's use, yeah, it's fine. Rhonda can do it to me. So Rhonda's going to tell me she's grateful for me. And I know I'm grateful for her. I know she's grateful for me, but I mean, it's just nice to hear it sometimes, right? So Rhonda's going to send me that text message. And we haven't talked in several months. So Rhonda, because she really cares, and we're important to each other, our relationship's important, not just today, but long term, she's going to say, you know what? I need to check and see what's going on with Kurt. So I send him an appropriate message. So she stalks me. Let's say Rhonda stalks me. Rhonda's going to stalk me on Facebook. She's going to stalk me on Instagram just for a moment. And she's going to see that I've got a new preemie grandbaby that's in NICU. Okay, which is true, I do. He's doing good, getting better. Thanks for all your prayers. His name's Charlie. He's named after Charles Spurgeon, Charles Haddon Spurgeon. So he's Charles Haddon Beavers. He's a great little guy, but he's tiny. But she sees that. And when she texts me, she says, Kurt, you know what? I feel like I'm tooting my own horn. I just appreciate you and the time and effort you spend with me and my team. And I just want to tell you, I'm thankful for you. And I wanted you to know that I saw that precious little baby and I'm going to be praying for him. So just appreciate you. Really glad you're in my life. Thanks a bunch. Let's connect soon or something, okay? So how many people could you do that with? Somebody else maybe they got a new car. Man, your new car is awesome. Like, Jan Roberto told me she had a car for a while. She got a new car. And I keep teasing her. When I called her, I said, I see that new car. I said, you and your hubby need to get into a race now. I think you can beat him. And so it was funny, but you know what? She knew that I cared enough to know what was going on in her life. And I just added that little bitty tidbit in that text. So if you practice an attitude of gratitude and you want to do 5, maybe minimum 10, if you're serious about this business a day, maybe just do it Monday through Friday, okay? And I'm not 5 and 10, they're not magic numbers, okay? But just what could you be doing? So try that. And you know what you're going to do? By doing something that's kind and right and investing in relationships, you're going to build your conversation pipeline, your pipeline of people you're talking to 30 days, 60 days, 90 days from now. Let's just say as you kick off 2025, let's just use that as a target. Your pipeline of conversations is going to be so big, you're going to start January or February 2025 not with an empty plate. You're going to start with conversations that are already 3 and 4 deep. And guess what? 80% of them close after the 5th conversation. What a fruitful harvest you're going to have if you would invest in planting seeds, watering and fertilizing them just for a season to keep your pipeline full. Could be huge. But let's practice an attitude of gratitude to make sure this is the best month ever, okay? All right, let's keep going here for just a second. Got a few more things to share with you. We did our first one of these last month. And because of the time change and because of it was something new and we made you register, it wasn't a huge crowd. But I thought it was absolutely awesome to do this together and then to have that Q&A time at the end, which we very rarely get on Zoom today. Most speakers or hosts, fear is the wrong word, but it can get out of hand, out of control. But I've been doing this 37 years. It's going to be hard to ask me a question that's going to shock me, okay? And I'm pretty good on my feet. And so I don't mind being spontaneous and just jumping into this with you so that you leave the call satisfied, edified, and equipped, okay? So they're amazing. And I should have had this slide on here, but they're amazing. And Beth, or Trey, would you make a note too that we want to add the empowered hour schedule slide on here too next time? Because if you go to boards, there is if somebody's paying attention, maybe Rhonda or Sharon, whoever, or Tammy or whoever, if you all want to grab boards and put in the comments the link to the Empowered Hour call schedule, so people could have that. But there's a schedule of calls, a schedule of calls that happens every month, and it's on the Campbell team boards, and it gets updated. But everybody's lives don't work with that schedule. Okay, and I'd love for you to do one of these calls every day, a power hour. So if you can get on a live call off that schedule, do it. On our website, makealife.com/power hour, we have a recorded power hour that you can do whenever it's convenient for you. I'm kind of hosting it, walking you through it. There's a version with my voice if you want like a guide, and there's a version just with on-screen instructions. It's quiet. You can play your music of choice, okay? So that's there. And then once a month, we're going to do a live call. We're going to spend the better part of an hour, maybe 45 minutes to an hour, on key activities, the high-paying activities for your business. And it's going to be a working session where I'm going to describe something for you. We're going to interact for a minute, and then we're going to go to work. The timer's going to be on the screen, and then we're going to stop, and we're going to tackle the next activity, same routine. Then when that call's over, we're going to say, hey guys, thanks for joining us. Thanks for committing your hour. You're good to go. But we're going to stay on here for a Q&A. If any of you have questions about your business, about the activities we did today, I'm here for as long as I need to be here with you guys, 30 minutes or whatever, to answer some questions that are important to you right now. It was huge success last time. But we did it where you had to register. We're not going to do that anymore. We are using Zoom because Zoom lets us interact, okay? Facebook, you can comment and do the typing thing like you're doing right now. Trey, you're here with us. Okay, Trey's here now. Trey, what is the so people can join on Zoom next time? So there's two options, okay? When we do this call on Friday, November 22nd at 11 a.m. Eastern, you can join on Zoom and be interactive. You can join on Facebook and watch, listen, and type and comment with the audience. We're going to do most of our interacting, though, on Zoom. It's not going to be much of a typing engagement. We'll come back and get that later. But live during the call, if you want to be engaging and you want to be involved in the Q&A, you need to be on the Zoom version. The Zoom is going to broadcast into the Facebook group for everybody that just wants to be what's the word? Spectator. Couldn't think of it. So Trey, can you put the link? So there it is. So if you go to makealife.com/power hour, instead of us making you Zoom and sign up, if you'll just go there at that time, there'll be a direct link into the Zoom, or we can put there too a button where you can go to the Facebook page. You can go either way. You can join from the page and just spectate, or you can engage and do the Q&A with us and be on Zoom. But it was super good. I thought it was a new way to do this that was really productive. And anybody that was on there last time, you can ask them, okay? All right. We did a video series recently. I mean, I've learned so much in this business. I've learned stupid things not to do. I've learned great things to do. I mean, Sharon Rankin was already a leader and a mentor when I got in the business, and she was somebody that I followed. She had the faith, morals, and values that Lori and I really appreciated as a young couple. And she taught us a lot, because I'm sure she'd tell you the same thing. She started before us, 2 or 3 years before us, but because she just hit she's been with this company 40 years. We're 37. So she's 40 years. So she's 3 years longer than we are. First NMD in the company. And I'm sure she would tell you that she'd never done anything like this before either. So all of us are going to learn from the school of hard knocks. You're going to get your nose bloodied and all that kind of stuff. So one of the things that I've ventured into was the whole concept of a boot camp. We started doing them in 1989. And I've learned a lot about why I should go as an attendee and take my team. I've learned a lot about hosting one that makes sense, how to be a speaker at one, how to pick a location to do one, how to plan one. So we did a little video series on how to become a boot camp pro, whether you're brand new and you want to get the most out of attending one, or whether you're a leader and you want to host one. I think there's some good wisdom and experience there that you'll get a lot out of that you can watch. And we've got a video. We've actually have our next boot camp coming up January 31st and February the 1st. And I was on the phone with Carrie Daigle yesterday. It'll be the first time Carrie and Mickey have ever come to Atlanta to do an event for us. And just like I was bragging about Sharon a minute ago, I can brag about Rhonda. I can brag about Carrie. Carrie is literally 50 years in professional boxing promoting with levels of success with his events are on ESPN, okay? So he brought that skill set to our Juice Plus family. He is the best at promoting and building and creating events to create momentum. So at this Peachtree Boot Camp, we're going to go back and do something we did. We kind of got rid of it during COVID. We just, COVID changed a lot of things. But we started, Peachtree Boot Camp started out in 1989 as a leadership-only event to plan the new year, plan out the calendar year, to equip leaders to lead their teams. And my NMDs would fly in, and we'd do that. The first one, we had 13 people. It grew, and people on other teams and from the area said, hey, would you share with us? Can we come too? So we turned it into a boot camp. But we're bringing back the leadership aspect. So on Friday, January 31st from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., including lunch, there'll be a leadership training to equip sales coordinators and above to equip you to be better leaders. And, John Maxwell says leaders have followers, and I believe that's a great way to look at leaders in our business. And the level of your leadership is conveyed in your club level. If you're a 12 club, that means you've led 12 people well to build a successful, qualified business. You're leading 12 people well. If you're a 100 club, you're leading 100 people well. So that the idea of this leadership thing is to help you to influence more, to have more followers, to build your paycheck, to do things that that's so weird. Phone rang and it made my iPad screw up. To help you be better leaders. 9 to 3 on Friday. And then we'll start with dinner Friday night and our first session Friday night and all day Saturday. So we've got amazing speakers. Carrie Daigle's just one I told you about. I'll tell you who else is coming, and I'll highlight the others at some point in time soon. But Gina Gura, who's our new Chief Marketing Officer, and I'm so excited about the new products we're going to have in San Diego. You don't want to miss San Diego. I mean, I can't say a lot because we signed NDAs when we went to the NMD meeting. But I know Sharon will remember this, and Jay was telling us when we had water filters, when we were in the water filter business, and we had an under-the-sink water filter. This problem was already solved when I started. I'm assuming Sharon went through this. And Sharon, you can put a little comment in here if you want to tag along with what I'm saying. But the water filter was great, but we had to convince people that they needed to buy it, that it was going to make their water taste good, that it was amazing, have a plumber install it, pay for it before they even got to experience it, because it was an installed under the sink only kind of product. Sales were hum, maybe like struggling to get going where Jay wanted them to go, and he decided to bring a canine influence into our business. You said, Kurt, you're crazy. What are you talking about? Well, I just made that up. But he introduced the puppy dog sales approach, where there was more ways that someone could hook something on their countertop just with a rubber suction thing, and they could make coffee with clean water. They could make tea with clean water. They could drink clean water. And just like, if I came over to one of your houses with a 12-week-old golden retriever puppy, and I said, I know y'all aren't looking for a new dog, but this dog is so cute. Would you all just play with it, take care of it for a week? Maybe it could sleep with your kids. Here's a toy your kids can play with it with. Would you just try this puppy dog out for a week? If you don't like it, I'll come back and get it. It's no problem. but I really would love for your family to have a puppy. And you're like, no, we're not having a dog, but we can do it for a week. So you leave that puppy. How hard is it going to be to pry that dog away from the child that's played with it for a week, that's named it, that cuddles with it, that giggles when it licks its face? How hard is it going to be to get that puppy away from that family in a week? It ain't happening. Checkbook's out. Well, let me just say that at our San Diego conference, I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe we'll have a product that will impact our business as much as that countertop water filter impacted our water filter business. We went from $1 million a month to $14 million a month just because we had a way for somebody to puppy dog demo that product. It worked, okay? So some of those kind of things with Gina Gura, head of our product innovation team, she knows that, sees that, and she saw Jay Martin's wisdom in that in the past. So did Travis. So just be thinking about, what if $1 million a month to $14 million a month, you know, that's not a lot of sales today, but that growth from 1 million to 14 million, any company would beg to come up with a product, a concept, an idea that could multiply their business like that. Just remember, Kurt told you on a crazy YouTube, Facebook video in November of 2024 that was going to happen, and you're going to say that in April of 2025 when we get back from San Diego. I bet. We'll see, but that's my bet. So she's coming to speak at Peachtree Boot Camp. That was how Gina's coming to speak. We got a weekly thing that just I love to help you be intentional. I don't like for us to be reactive. It's just like if you get up in the morning and waste your morning and let the world dump crap in your life, because it will. If you don't have a quiet start, a quiet time, and put the good stuff in, you can get your Bible out, get a book out, get the people in your life out and pray over them. You know, just be still and get proactive before the world sends bells, dingers, and alarms off after you, and fill that morning time. Put the good stuff in, not the crap, okay? Well, you can do that for the week too. You got to plan your week. And so this is nothing special. This is just a little attempt from Kurt and his team to help you remember every Monday morning to be intentional about the week ahead of you. It's not going to be some miracle. It's just a nudge. And some of you that are asleep may feel like it's a cattle prod, but it's just a nudge. And you can stop it whenever you want to. But if you or anybody on your team would like to get that text on Monday mornings, just text "wake up" to that number on the screen, okay? And maybe Trey, you can type that in the box too, just so they'll have it as a memory. Okay. Trey and I are having so much fun. Trey's on here now. Trey and Beth switched. Beth was on here in the beginning, and because Trey was probably doing something with his kids because he's an amazing dad and couldn't quite get here in time. He might have had a phone call, but I know he's a super dad. He does a great job. He's got 3 great kids. But we're doing something we're having a blast with. I don't know how many of you all have tuned in, listened to, subscribed to our podcast. It's called Life. It's what you make it. And think about what I just said. I want you to be intentional, not reactive. So the life you want is not just going to happen. You have to make it happen. We just recorded an episode on Faith Carries a Shovel. I remember my youth pastor telling me, was teaching us about faith kind of when my parents were divorced and I was without a dad, and he was playing a major father figure role in my life. And he was teaching us about faith. And I remember this is 50 years later. I remember him saying, you can believe and you can talk about believing and you can say you believe how big your God is. But when you have faith that God's going to do something, and you got a shovel in the shed and you're staring at the shovel, just want God to do it all. He said the evidence that you're acting on a life of faith is that you have the shovel in your hand. Faith carries a shovel. Faith does not sit back and be passive. We just did a cool podcast on that's just an example of some of the things that we're talking about. It's life stuff. It's business stuff, but it's how to be proactive, not reactive. It's how to be intentional, not passive. It's how to take timeless principles, not rules. Rules change depending on what you're doing, but principles are timeless. So we do that twice a month, and we're having a lot of fun. I think you'll get some laughs from our screw-ups and crazy comments. It's totally clean, not political. I won't say it's not faith-based because God's at the center of everything I try to do. So, and even if you're not a believer, the principles still work. Okay. So you can join us on this podcast, and I think you just need to go to one of these choices. There's a link there, makealife.com/podcast. It's on the screen. I didn't see it. And then a couple more slides here for you. The rest of this month, just so you'll know what's ahead for November, we're talking about making November the best month ever. On the 13th, we're going to do a special training. And then on November the 20th will be our Finish Strong call. And Trey, what is that? What can you put on in our comments what the topic is for our special training November the 13th? I think we just put that out there. I forgot which one now. I forget what we're doing on a podcast versus our special training, but we'll have that to you soon. So there's a special training we do in the middle of each month to make an investment in you, to teach you one of these principles and skills and how to make it come alive in your business. Okay. So thank you for being with us. I know I went a little bit over this morning. Sorry about that. My goal is to be 45 minutes, but we're almost an hour, but it was a lot to talk about. Remember, we're changing to 10:30, not 9:30 anymore, because the digital calls changed to Thursdays. If you need to find me, I'm at Kurt Beavers anywhere on the internet. I'm on Facebook. I'm at Kurt Beavers on Voxer, Twitter, Instagram, all those places. And you can find me at makealife.com. There's all kind of resources to connect with us. Hey, Trey, what is that link where if they want me to do a coaching call for their team, or if there's one of these topics that they really felt blessed them and they want me to do a call with their team on something that's important, what is the link they go to sign up and request a team call? I forgot what that link is. Trey, can you slap that in there? Okay. The special training topic is going to be, what does it take to build a business? Building a business the right way. There it is, makealife.com/coaching. And you can go there. There's a form. You can pick a topic. You can request a call. We can work on a calendar and try and schedule it. It's all right there. So I'll be happy to do that for you guys. We're all in this together. There are battles that we try to win all of them. We don't win every battle. We're winning the war. We're the #1 selling nutritional product in the world, the most researched nutritional product in the world. And I will tell you this, we have the best leadership in Travis Garza, Gina Gura, Stephen Millman, Sean Hopkins at our home office that we've ever had. We went through a season through COVID where that leadership was not the best. A lot of companies did that, but right now we've got the best. Our founder, Jay Martin, his principles are guiding every step of the way. And you want to be a part of this, because when you go through a struggle, it makes you better for what's after the struggle. And you're about to see an explosion of our company because everything's in place. Technology frustrated us, but you know what? That was just a blip in the radar. And San Diego, don't forget, you might go home with a puppy dog. You'll have to listen to the beginning of this if you just heard the end, but you might get a new puppy dog in San Diego. Be blessed. Talk to you soon.